Can Congress party really survive without any person from the Nehru-Gandhi family? Of course, earlier you needed Sonia Gandhi as your leader. Now you need Rahul Gandhi as a leader. But can the Congress party survive without anyone from the Nehru-Gandhi family?
This is answered in the 84th session of the plenary. When a Congress worker comes, he just doesn't come expressing his opinion. He comes expressing the opinion of the people of this country. If they want Rahul Gandhi, okay, they want Rahul Gandhi. So there's no question of survival.
But the perception has been that if it's not anyone
Rahul Gandhi has not been imposed on the Congress party.
Right.
Rahul Gandhi has been elected, selected by the Congress party, by the Congress workers. And the Congress workers are expressing the opinion of the people of this country. It may not suit the BJP. Why Rahul Gandhi? That's why these issues are raised. But otherwise, nobody raises this in the Congress party.
When people relate to whatever Rahul Gandhi is saying, of course, there is a large section of people which is taking him seriously. And people do want to give him a chance that, look, he's a new leader and let's test him also. But then then the question comes back that he is a person who's wore the mantle of a dynast. And he is the one who's never contested in terms of leadership. Senior leaders like you, what would you have to say when this entire entitlement about dynasty and getting into the politics, getting into the framework of the party without any kind of election comes up? What do you really have to say?
I'm happy you asked me this because this can be answered very simplistically. In January of 2004, the most vilified politician in the country, or I say ever, was Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. I had hundreds of people, thousands of people tell me, why Sonia Gandhi? You had a Sushma Swaraj saying, I'll shave my hair. Somebody else saying that I'll leave politics. Somebody else saying I'll become an NRI. And Sonia Gandhi was attacked for everything. She was attacked for all kinds of things. She was taking on Mr. Bajpai, who was, people were fond of him. Okay? No section of society was particularly against Mr. Bajpai. And what was the result in 2004? Sonia Gandhi made Mr. Bajpai sit at home. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. Okay? So this answers my question.
But Mr. Nath, but those were times
when you said that he no experience, they said, what does she do? She doesn't give a speech properly. She reads a speech. She's of Italian origin. All these kind of things. What wasn't the attack on her? And she made Mr. Bajpai sit at home.
But Mr. Nath, those were times when politics was not like a guerrilla warfare as what is being fought in the current times. Where here you have a robust electoral machine of the BJP, their Panna Pramukhs, the way they go about with the booth management. Is Congress party really battle ready to take on this kind of a machine? Because your grassroots workers are completely demotivated.
I don't think so. If you're talking about grassroots voters, I know about it. Okay? And
Chhindwara could be one exception.
No, everywhere where I go, I see there's tremendous energy in the workers because they are reflecting and voicing the voice of the people. And let me say one thing, the only thing the BJP has is money power. The display of money in the last held elections, even in Gujarat, okay, where they almost got a beating. If it wasn't for Surat, they would have lost it. And this is the home state of the Prime Minister, of the BJP President. And it was the Gujarat model which was shown to the country to win the 2014 election. And that Gujarat model was getting the biggest thrashing possible. So the only thing the BJP has is enormous money power. But again, we must recognize that the people of this country are poor, backward, but they are not fools.
Party wins the hearts of the people through its ideology also. And what we feel and what currently the perception is that with the way Rahul Gandhi visited the temples in Gujarat and with the way the narrative is being built up, he's making references of Kauravas versus Pandavas, and he makes references about Shiva temples. In his plenary also he did mention about that. So is there a certain shift in the kind of ideology, like from the left of center to secular to now you have a soft Hindutva approach?
Are the BJP the sole selling agents of temples in this country? I am as much as a Hindu as anyone else, but I'm not Hindutva. Okay? The voice of this people.
But why didn't the party talk about it earlier?
We always did. We always go to temple. I built a temple in Chhindwara. The biggest temple, Hanuman temple in this country. not in Chhindwara, not in Madhya Pradesh, in this country has been built by me. I'm a congressman.
But Chhindwara alone is not building up the perception about the Congress party.
I'm saying, so I'm talking as a congressman. I'm not talking as Chhindwara, I'm saying I built it. Okay? And you'll say, why have you built a temple? BJP has got the sole selling agency.
Absolutely not.
So, if the BJP doesn't have that and Rahul Gandhi goes to a temple, why do they get so agitated? Rahul Gandhi always went to temples. He said that in his speech. I've always been to temples. But they said that no, anyone who goes to a temple must be only from the BJP. That is the politics which will destroy this country, which will divide this country.
Mr. Nath, surely the Congress as a party seems very emboldened by the victories which have come about recently in the by-elections in Rajasthan, in UP. But the million-dollar question is that what is the counter-narrative which Congress as a party is offering to the people?
Its own performance. Our performance in 10 years, the economy, the jobs we created, where every section of society was helped, the poorest to the poor. The largest single thing is, in the history of this world, no country has lifted so many people out of poverty as what the Congress did. Now, the people who have been lifted out of poverty understand that. And today, the people of this country are seeing these wrong policies.
But would it be right to go back to those 10 years when parties are offering a new India agenda?
Our thing will be, Congress has done it before, we'll do it again. Okay. That's it. And what's happened now? Every section of society is in distress. We must not forget that, whether it's the farmers, whether it's the youth, whether it's the laborers, whether it's the traders, every section of, never in the history of this country and never in my 40 years experience of political life, I've seen a government which has put into distress every section of the society.
So you mean to say that if Congress comes to power in 2019, there's not going to be any rural distress, there'll be jobs all across?
Certainly not. We are not saying that. But we are also not saying we'll create 2 crore jobs per year. We are certainly not saying we'll put 15 lakhs in your account. We are certainly not saying that we'll give farmers 50% of their investment. We are not making those kind of promises. So that is why it's these promises where people are feeling they are thugged.
There have been reports post the plenary session that, of course, with the new vision and the new kind of document which is being laid out by the Congress party, is the party ready for a US kind of a presidential campaign for 2019?
This has been discussed many times. And when it is leader-based, it's been discussed, I remember, in the 80s. We went into the constitutional amendments, but it was debunked by the BJP.
Okay.
By the BJP. Mm-hmm. Okay. That no, we don't want this. So this has been gone into, but when a party sets up a prime ministerial candidate, it automatically becomes presidential because they are voting for that phase.
If you go in terms of the personalities, and if it's going to be a clash between Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi, of course, it's not going to be like a battle of equals. At least that's what the people perceive.
Well, it will not be a battle of equals. I'll tell you why. Because Mr. Modi has been in politics for 50 years. Rahul Gandhi has only been in politics for 10 years. And Mr. Modi carries the baggage of 50 years of that kind of politics, and Mr. Rahul Gandhi doesn't. So people will want somebody who doesn't have that baggage. You must remember how everybody looks at it.